All right, so let me talk to you a little bit about AI and the dangers of outsourcing your think to AI. Now, before I go on a rant or before I start sort of like going down the rabbit hole of how bad and how dangerous and how potentially catastrophic AI is, that doesn't apply to all AI. I believe there is a place for AI in society. I believe that eventually we're gonna be completely dependent on AI, especially within medical, scientific, maybe construction fields and so on. Having robots that are doing manual labor work, having robots that are doing surgical, I don't know. I don't even know what surgeons do really. Well, I have some idea. I mean, they alter and mix body parts. But imagine having a robot doing everything that's whose precision is so good, no human can compete with it. And also robots that are doing construction, robots that are doing manufacturing, fully automated stuff. I'm all for it. I think that's the proper use of AI. And I think it's going to be groundbreaking if we can manage to do it right. Now, there are some concerns when it comes to AI, and that's especially when it comes to human think and how it affects human think. I'll give you an example. It's it's a pretty basic example. It's a pretty silly example, really. But it's a very very important principle because, or it's a very very important example because the principle that I'm going to be discussing after that is very very important, and it just shows you how easily mankind can be fooled or deceived or tricked, right? So with that in mind, here is, it's so dumb, I just have to smile when I'm thinking about it, but whatever. So with that in mind, here's my experience with AI so far. Other than using AI for just basic questions and so on, I did something once. I wanted some AI. I don't know what sort of an AI it was. I think it was ChatGPT. Might have been Claude. It might have been Grok. Might have been Gemini. I don't remember, but it was one of these large language models that I tested once. And so I wanted to ask the language model, "Hey, can you give me 31 tips taking care of my cat?" Because it was the beginning of a month. I think it was the first of a month with 31 days, and so I just decided to, hey, if I had a cat, I didn't have a cat by the way, and I didn't have plans to have a cat. But if I had a cat, can you give me 31 tips for taking care of my cat for this whole month? One tip for every day. And so the AI listed all these tips, and pretty much all of them were pretty much generic. Like, remember to rinse the water that your cat drinks every single day. Remember to put a box of sand so it can go take a piss inside whilst you're teaching it to go outside. Remember to show love and compassion and give your cat attention and all that stuff. All the regular stuff. And then came the most interesting one. Hey, remember from time to time to cut the nails of your cat. And I'm sitting there going, what are you writing? Cutting the nails of my cat. Well, sure, I can cut the claws on the paws of a cat. But cats don't have nails. Humans have nails, not cats. That's just dumb. So I wrote that. I said that cats don't have nails. And then the AI wrote back saying something like, oh yeah, you're right, cats don't have nails, they have paws and they have claws. I'm gonna correct that. Here's the corrected point. Now, this is pretty hilarious in and of itself. And truth to be told, every single person on planet Earth, well, perhaps not these days because people are so dumb, but most people on planet Earth know that. What happened now? something happened. I don't like this. Yeah, whatever. I'm just going to continue. So there will be 2 transmissions. I'm recording this video on a podcast but without sound, and obviously something happened. So it stopped recording. I don't know why, but whatever. We'll fix that. Anyway, getting back to the point here. So most people already know that, hang on a second. This is weird. Ooh, this is very, very weird. All right, this is a little bit embarrassing. All right, so let's start again. Where was I after the sound disappeared? Well, yes, I was here. Most people know that cats don't have nails. Most people know that cats have claws, right? So it's a very, very easy thing to point out. But here are the problems. Number one, this shouldn't have been a problem in and of itself. ChatGPT or Grok or whoever wrote this shouldn't be doing it in the first place because it's so dumb. Number two, what happens if ChatGPT or if some AI is writing stuff about something that people are discussing and or disputing, such as, was the moon landing fake? Did Hitler really kill the Jews? Yes, and by the way, yes, I know this is a sensitive and touchy subject, but there are still people who are discussing this. So we kind of have to bring it up. And also, I was losing my train of thoughts. I hate it when that happens. No. Are whole food based red meats healthy? Like beef, steak, tenderloin, brisket, and so on. Is that healthy? Because we're hearing a lot about processed meats. So if I say something like along the lines of processed meats like sausage, ham, and bacon, and processed red meats are dangerous. Or excuse me, let me rephrase that. If I say something like along the lines of red processed meats like sausage, bacon, and ham are dangerous because they can promote cancer in your body or some such. So that's why you should cut down on red meat and eat more fish and vegetables. Do you see what I just did? Or did you hear what I just did? I compared red processed meats to red ordinary meats. That's a very dangerous thing to do. That's a very, very slippery slope. Because like we said, brisket, beef, steak, ground beef, tenderloin, etc., those aren't dangerous. That's actually healthy. It's very, very healthy for you. You should absolutely be eating those meats. You should stay away from red processed meats, again, like bacon, ham, sausage, and so on. But you shouldn't be staying away from brisket because it's red meat. And see, here's the danger. When they say red meats, they include both processed and whole food based meats. And they use that as an excuse or as a reason for making you eat less red meat. That's the dangers. That's very, very dangerous, and that's a slippery slope. What happens now if we're discussing history? Well, Hitler didn't really kill the Jews. He just shut them inside some concentration camps to prevent them from being raided by the ordinary horrible German regular citizens. We all know that's a lie, right? However, what happens if someone who didn't pay attention to school actually reads this shit online? And, there are people probably writing this shit. And which also means that ChatGPT and all the AI language models are prone to being influenced by it. Because where do these language models fetch their data from? Well, they're fetching them from Reddit, from YouTube, from Wikipedia, from forums, from search results, from all over the web. So theoretically, if I'm making lots and lots of videos on YouTube and podcasts about stuff that's not true, such as, for instance, that Hitler was the good guy, that will theoretically influence the AI language models, which is very, very dangerous, right? And again, I know this is a touchy subject. That's why I'm mindful about talking about it. But still, it's so important. It's very, very important, especially in these days, because people aren't believing the news media. And why should they? They're lying all the time. However, that's why you should stay away from people who are so gullible and who easily believe everything they read online. Because just like the mass media and the news media are lying all the time, so are the language models. So are the large language models, the AIs. They're lying too. I just proved it to you through my cat clipping the nails example, right? So what else are they lying about? Probably a lot. So think about that. And here's the kicker to round off this video, or these 2-in-1 podcasts. Just like they believe ordinary news and are very prone to their propaganda and brainwashing, so do time and energy vampires, the TEVs. They believe everything that they read in a large language model. So stay away from them. They have lost their ability to do critical thinking. And that's why you should stay away from them at all costs. And with that being said, yeah, I think that's it. Just be mindful about AI. AI is great, but don't take it as the wise know-it-all that it's really not, and read books instead. Read books, familiarize yourself with knowledge, and then see how much ChatGPT and the other AIs, large language models, really know. And with that, I'll talk to you later. Yeah, and by the way, I'd be remiss if I didn't do that. If you want to learn more about TEVs, time and energy vampires, and how to avoid dealing with them, consider opting into my email list. The link to do so is below the episode description wherever you're watching or listening to this. Thank you, and I'll talk to you later.